Pete Hegseth is calling for a 20% cut in 4-star generals, the leaders of entire branches like the Army, Navy, Air Force and Marines. He also wants to reduce general officers in the National Guard and cut senior military roles across the board. He publicly attacked what he calls woke generals, and the current administration has already removed key figures: the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the head of the Navy, and even the commander of the US base in Greenland. This sends a clear message to everyone in uniform. From now on, promotions aren't about service or the Constitution, they are about loyalty to Trump. That shift from institutional loyalty to personal loyalty is a classic authoritarian move, and history shows where that could lead. In 1933, when Hitler came to power, Germany still had courts, a parliament, press and elections. On paper, all the checks and balances, but when it mattered, none of them stopped him. Only one institution could have: the military. The so-called Reichswehr was small, just 100,000 men, but disciplined, well-structured and independent. Hitler knew without the army's cooperation, his plans wouldn't be possible. So in 1934, he launched the Night of the Long Knives. He ordered the execution of the SR leadership, a paramilitary group that had helped him to rise to power but now threatened the army's position. During the purge, Hitler had around 85 people killed, including SR leader Ernst Röhm and other political opponents. Most of them executed by the SS, an elite paramilitary organization loyal to Hitler. By killing off his own allies, Hitler signaled to the military, "You will stay in control if you support me." In return, the generals pledged loyalty, not to the Constitution, but to Hitler personally. That's why what's happening in the US right now is so dangerous. This isn't about military strength, it's about loyalty and who gets to define it. When courts are under attack, elections are undermined, and the press is discredited, the military becomes the last institutional firewall. Not against voters, not against parties, but against possible tyranny. And when even that firewall is politicized, when it's filled with loyalists, not professionals, then nothing stands between power and abuse but the people themselves. History teaches us, when all other safeguards collapse, only one institution remains capable of resisting authoritarian power: the military. Not Congress, not the courts. When everything fails, the armed forces are the last institutional line of defense. But that defense only holds if the military stays professional, apolitical, and loyal to the Constitution, not to a man. Undermining the chain of command, removing experienced officers and replacing them with loyalists isn't reform, it's control. If the military falls, the last institutional safeguard is gone, and then there's no one left inside the system to stop what comes next. Defend the oath, defend the force, defend the future. One last thing, because I often draw parallels between German history and current US politics. Trump is not Hitler. Hitler was a monster, Trump is a clown. A dangerous one nonetheless, but dangerous in a different way. This distinction matters, not to downplay Trump's threat, but to avoid trivializing the horrors of the Second World War. Still, Trump and the people around him have clearly learned from that history how to dismantle institutions, centralize power, and demand loyalty. We're not comparing the crimes right now. We're comparing the playbook.